Good afternoon and welcome to another Facebook Live of the Fall 2021 semester. My name is Courtney Cavallo. I'm an undergraduate student studying Integrated Strategic Communication here at UK. Today we're going to talk about wellness during midterms, which it can definitely be a stressful time of the academic year. And to help me discuss these topics, I have with me Megan Marks and Ron Lee. Thank you so much for joining me today. Megan Marks is the Assistant Director and a licensed psychologist at the UK Counseling Centre, which is a wonderful resource for UK students in need of counseling services. And Ron Lee is the Director of Campus Recreation and Wellness, which is an office providing quality recreation and wellness services that support student success and promote healthy lifestyles. Thank you guys again, and let's go ahead and jump right in. So I'll start with you, Megan. Can you give us a little bit more background on what you do here at UK?
Yes, well, I've been here for about 10 years, so I'm clearly a big fan of UK. So I am a licensed psychologist, which means that I've been trained to work with students on an individual basis, in group therapy, and also provide workshops. And I'm also overseeing our outreach services, which means we tend to come out of the counseling center and work with students in programming and things like today.
Awesome. And then Ron, if you can give us a little bit more background on what you do here.
Okay, well, Campus Recreation and Wellness, I think most people know us for our facilities, Johnson Student Rec Center and Alumni Gym Fitness Center. But in addition to that, we have a couple other facilities. We've got Lancaster Aquatic Center for swimming. We share Seton Center, so we do some intramural programs and stuff in Seton Center. Then we have some outdoor facilities, some tennis courts, basketball courts, club sports field, which is a synthetic grass field, and our intramural fields behind the Johnson Center, which are grass. So that's kind of our facility side. But what we do that most people may not know is we have also programs. Intramural sports is part of campus recreation. Club sports is part of campus recreation. We have outdoor pursuits, and it's the climbing wall in the Johnson Center, and they also do weekend excursions. They'll go whitewater rafting, they'll go bouldering, they'll go hiking, camping. We have fitness, which is the group fitness classes and personal trainers, and then we have wellness, which Ashley Hinton is in charge of that does a lot of various wellness programs on campus. So that's kind of a capsule of what we do.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for that insight on more about your roles here. And Megan, this question's for you. So what are some ways that the Counseling Center can support students, especially during this busy time?
Oh yeah, well, I think folks often think of the Counseling Center and they only think about individual therapy, but we offer so many more services than just that. So we know our students are really busy, and so therapy might not fit into their schedule. So we offer a lot of drop-in and kind of self-service services. So we have our relaxation room, we have massage chairs, coloring, painting. We have light spectrum therapy in there, and just it's a relaxing space. And students are welcome to drop into that Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. We also have our Let's Talk program, where that is meeting with a clinician like myself for very brief amounts of time, 15, 30 minutes. And we've got a couple different locations on campus, some that are in person and some that are virtual. And so that's great for students who might want to check out what it's like to talk to a clinician, who want maybe some advice. We kind of think of it like the advice nurse on some level, right? And for folks that won't necessarily need ongoing support. We also have a lot of drop-in workshops, like our test anxiety workshop, which can be really helpful at this time of year, meditation workshops, and a couple other drop-in workshops, as well as our group therapy programs, some that help build skills and some that are focused on relationship building, and then of course our individual therapy, which includes also urgent and crisis appointments.
Awesome. That's really great to hear that the support's flexible to student schedules too, especially during midterms.
Yes. I did forget one thing. We have our Stress Busters app, which we highly recommend for students to use at this time of year because there's a deep breathing tool, lots of relaxing music, and we have a UK specific version. And so really we're trying to reach students where they are.
Yeah, that's awesome to have it right on your phone too.
Yes.
And so Ron, how have the programs and services within Campus Recreation and Wellness adapted in response to COVID-19?
Well, it was a challenge for us. We have two different versions of it. Last year, when we first opened back up after things were shut down, we had to relocate. In the Johnson Center, we relocated our equipment to make all of it available, but it had to be 6 feet apart. So we took up 2 courts in the basketball gym and spread our equipment out. We hired extra student workers to do more extensive cleaning of the equipment. Our student workers were really the backbone, and they were amazing in helping us do this and be, unfortunately, the enforcers of wearing the mask, because that first go around you had to wear a mask the whole time in the facility. And that's not easy, the peers working with peers and continually have to correct them. We also did some, one of the really good benefits is we started doing group fitness classes virtually. And that is something we will continue to do, and it's offered now because it's a very popular thing. You can just do it in your room. You don't have to come to the facility if the weather's not bad, good or anything. So those were probably the major things that we did. And now, with the second go round, they only have to wear the mask between workouts. So when they're actively working out, they don't have to wear a mask. And the students in the building have received this one much better. We're playing basketball again now, and climbing walls open, and all of our equipment's available. So it's great to. When we were talking about how we're going to do this, we really wanted to maximize the number of students that could come in and utilize our equipment, because we also know that we want it to be as normal as possible for them during this time. And I happen to think it's very critical to get out and exercise and be physically active for your mental and your physical well-being. So we wanted to really promote, having everything available for them.
That's really great. I know I've participated in the online fitness classes, so thank you for still doing those. And Megan, since the events of the past year, just with COVID, the Counseling Center introduced the telehealth and virtual options for students, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And are there still virtual options, and have appointments shifted back in person?
Great question. So when everything shifted for COVID, we were exclusively online. But this year, we actually offer appointments both in person and online. So we're really, again, we found that a lot of students really like those telehealth appointments. And so we don't see us ever getting rid of telehealth appointments. And so we have the ability for students to schedule their first appointment online. And all the first appointments, so our initial consultation, all of those are online, and those are about 30 minutes. We found that doing a brief first meeting was really helpful for students, because it meant that we could meet with them and get them connected to the right services, whether it's with us or other partners like Campus Recreation, faster, and also they're not having to tell their whole story over and over again. So students can book those online, and then their first appointments are online. And then students, for their follow-up appointments, for individual therapy, it depends. If they would like an in-person appointment, we have those, or if they would like to continue online, those are also available. And so it really is about the preference. All of our groups this year are still online. We've actually found that it's been easier for students to attend our group appointments, especially since those tend to be later in the day and in the evenings. It's been easier for them to be online. And we just want to make sure that we're being safe as it relates to COVID. So I don't see any of that going away. I think we're always going to offer in-person and online.
Yeah, that's amazing that we have both of those options,
Yes.
and that flexibility again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so, Ron, going back to campus recreations, why are those resources particularly important right now as we go into midterms?
Yeah, and part of that's I touched on earlier, but we'll go to some data statistically that nationwide, and we've done the same research on our campus, people that use our facility 3 to 4 or more times a week have a higher GPA. They're also retained higher at the university, but for midterms, the higher GPA is the thing to focus on. We also know scientifically that getting your heart elevated prior to taking a test or prior to doing something with pressure, you're going to do better. It actually physically enhances. There's a book, Spark, by Dr. John Ratty from Harvard University that goes into detail about how this works. And they talk about schools in Chicago where, for physical education, they don't grade them on how fast they run or how high they jump. They have monitors when they grade them how high they elevate their heart rate. So it's more on the individual and not just a standard thing. But that's where I think, I was in a meeting earlier today, and I said that to me, exercise and physical activity is the best drug out there. Yes. You feel good after you do it, and you're becoming more healthy. And how can you do anything more than that to do it? So. Tagging on something that Megan said too, we also have a exercise referral program, and what she was talking about with the counseling center, that if there's someone that they feel like that coming over to our facility, whether it's just to be introduced to it or get into some training, then they work out with our fitness director what type of of prescription that would look like to do it. So I think it's important that, we are open 6 a.m. to midnight. So there's, any time of day they can pretty much come in, and then we have the virtual. So it's good just to burn stress and to make themselves, I think, feel better before going in for tests.
Yeah, that's great to see the connection between your two support systems as well, because we know physical health and mental health are super interconnected. So that's great to see that relationship there. And so, Megan, what are some trends you tend to see with students around this time of year?
Yeah, we see a variety of trends. And so I think first thing that we see is a lot of students, because, the stress of midterms, feeling behind maybe, feeling like they just need to be studying all the time, we see them not taking as good care of themselves physically, right? So that might mean they're not getting enough sleep. And we know sleep helps with everything. It helps us manage our mood. It helps us remember. It helps us concentrate. It helps us problem solve, right? And so we see some issues with sleep. We, students, you're trying to grab food on the go, and so maybe making choices that are gonna spike your blood sugar, and then you have a crash. And so, so maybe having some nutritional concerns. Also, not drinking enough water. Again, we know water and sleep, hand in hand, they help with our concentration. And so we see just the kind of basics of not taking care of themselves. And so that's something that we're always trying to remind students. You need sleep, you need water, you need nutritional food. But we also need balance too, right? We need some time with our friends as well as some time studying. And so a lot of what we're talking to students is trying to help them find that balance. We see a lot of anxiety at this time of year, right? For many students, they've maybe turned in a paper or had an exam in a class, and they feel like the midterm often has more weight to it. And so we can often find folks really thinking, defining themselves by their GPA, or afraid to disappoint their parents with how they perform in their classes, or feel shame in comparison to their peers. So we see a lot of self-comparison, worry about what others might think about them, and we see that come through in anxiety. And so we're often working with students trying to help them unpack some of those anxious thoughts and what are those messages that they've been receiving, and find ways to physiologically relax. And so we're often working with Campus Rec and encouraging students to be working out. I like to talk about outdorphins, which basically means get outside, enjoy some of this sun, right? We know that that's going to help. And just taking in the nature around you, going for a walk in the Arboretum, that can really help with relaxation and focus. And so we're working with students in a variety of ways to help them with their anxiety and just taking care of themselves physically.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know I have some of those feelings, so it's great to have that support from both of your services. And Ron, so specifically during midterms, what events and opportunities will your office be hosting for students, faculty, and staff to promote self-care?
Well, actually tomorrow night there's yoga at Kroger at 8 o'clock. So the first 125 who show up will get a yoga mat. And this is a time where students can storm Kroger Field, and the university will not have to pay $250,000 for it. So if they want to go out there, that's a good time to do it. We also have through Wellness and Ashley Hinton in her office, and these are on our website. There's Koru classes available and other mindfulness opportunities to tag on what Megan's been saying. And then we have our normal operation. Like I said, we're open 6 a.m. to midnight. And, we just really want to encourage people to come out and work. You don't have to come in and lift 300 pounds. Come in and walk around the track a few times. Just move a little bit, and I think you'll be better for it.
Awesome. I'll definitely have to look into that yoga. That
Yeah,
sounds very
yeah,
fun.
Yeah.
Very popular.
And so for both of you, and I'll start with Megan, but as we wrap up, what general advice do you have for students just about their health, their well-being as we enter this midterm season?
Yeah. First and foremost, we want students to understand you are more than just a number. You're more than your GPA. You are a whole human being, right? And you are worthy as you are. And so I think, I hope that a lot of students can really understand that. I also want students to know that they're not alone, right? A lot of students often think, I'm the only one struggling, I'm the only one who thinks this. And so much of what we find is a lot of similar feelings, right? Just everyone's doing better than I am, or things like that. And so we want students to know that they're not alone. And there are so many great resources on this campus to help support our students. And so whether it's the Counseling Center or Campus Rec, we're all here to support our students achieve their dreams and goals. And so it kind of doesn't matter where you start, we'll all make sure that you get to the right place. And I do want to plug one thing. Because mental health is so important at this time of year, we're offering a mental health screening day on Thursday, October 14th, from 11 to 2 o'clock in person at the Student Center on Barker Plaza. We will also offer some online screenings as well for those who can't make it in person. And then for those students who are either in the College of Medicine or College of Dentistry, we'll also have a screening available for them from 12 to 3 on Thursday in person. It's just so important to check in and see how you're doing mental health wise at this time of year.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Ron.
Yeah, kind of go along with what Megan says. The Office of Student Success, I think where we're structured now and how we got to where we are is just fantastic because it's centered around being there for the students to meet all their need. And as Megan said, there are a ton of resources out there for tutoring, for coaching, wellness coaching, to try to meet the students' needs to make them as successful as possible as they can be here at the University of Kentucky. So I would just urge them, please look and take advantage of the resources available to you, regardless of, how far down the rabbit hole you think you've already gone, or if you just need something just to be, buffed up a little bit. But please use us.
And in particular, the Well Kentucky website really, I think, is one of the best resources for students to know about because it lists all of our Office of Student Success offices as well as offices, through University Health Services and kind of across campus. And so there is help on campus. And so that means there's hope that things can be better.
Exactly. That's amazing we have all these resources. Well, as we wrap up, I want to thank you both again for joining me today and providing this information. I know I learned so much, and I hope our audience did as well. Thank you to our viewers who tuned in today, and have a wonderful day, Wildcats.